Ladies and gentlemen, all rise for the RankKing's court.
New to you. Rank King is officially now the true king. Kings always sip coffee as well.
Is that true?
I would hope so. I mean, if not, they got a pretty good mead along the side.
It's definitely mead.
Yeah, who the fuck sips coffee at 6:30 at night? Like, really?
I've been told I don't actually work amongst the great old bunch that normally does their bit. But, I mean, we're here, 6:30 on a Tuesday for the RankKing's court. But yes, we got a lot to talk about today, boys. But for starters, why don't you boys, one of you boys, read that good old ad read right there for me.
Oh, okay. I gladly will for the pompous, arrogant, mighty, tiny, and also big-headed court of the RankKing is live today from the Union Fitness Studios, located on the North Shore of Pittsburgh. Union Fitness is more than a traditional gym. It's a place where you can transform yourself inside and out, with a variety of classes based around fitness, yoga, strength, and performance training. At Union Fitness, they believe that it is their duty to hold themselves and their clients to a higher standard. They practice what they preach and uphold the values that make Union Fitness the community that it is. Go to unionfitness.com today to sign up for a consultation through Union, their strength.
I love it. On par every time, Bo. Gotta love it, man.
Every time. Danny said nice tiara, by the way.
Yeah, I saw that. We'd like to thank Denny for his contribution to last week's show. Because we're going to get into that now because if I remember correctly, Bo, we put out a poll today when we discussed our Borderlands topic last week, in which Denny was our special guest. And the choice was simple. You had to vote who had the better group of Vault Hunters ranked. The gambling peasant Denny or the king himself. And Bo, could you please share the results?
Danny, I have some bad news. Last time I looked, the ranking won, and your only vote was from Abby.
Oh.
So at least she was loyal.
Well, Danny's got the power of love behind him, so it works out.
Yeah. We should thank her for her vote. But...
Did Bree vote for Austin? That's what I'm curious about.
I don't even know if... Did you vote? No, she did not.
She didn't vote. I'll check it.
She just says, what?
Well,
yes.
In the end, Denny has love, and Austin's got...
It was 75% to 25%.
Denny.
So the ranking is 1-0 in challenges.
I think, didn't I beat... I'm not sure if I even beat Ian in that one we did all those weeks ago. I'm not even sure.
Yeah, but I'm willing to bet you that Ian probably had his goons bombard the poll to be able to do that, I bet.
Well, to be fair, he did have I think what threw him off was that he had Survivor at 1 and he had Australian Survivor
That's right, yeah. He did have Australian
Survivor. It was
Survivor.
like, all right, you might be a bit biased. Yeah. That might be the case.
I mean, the good thing about Denny's list is, like, you guys had the same characters. It was just different order. So, like, he wasn't completely off.
Yeah, there were points where, like, I mean, I have Athena, he doesn't have her on there. I have Wilhelm, he doesn't have her on there, but I also don't have Maya, and I think that was an interesting one because of how good Maya is. I just couldn't, like, with the amount of sirens that are in this game, I thought putting more than 2 probably was a bit much, but I mean, who am I to digress? There's only 6 of them in the whole universe. So, but yeah, I don't know. The topics were great. Like I said, Denny was a great guest to have on.
Yeah.
And we'll look to have more guests in the future because that's awesome. But right now, we got to discuss something that, for one of the few times, let me put it out here, one of the few times the topic is known by everybody. I mean, let me put it that way.
Yeah.
It is. It's
very
weird
rare.
how that
Very
worked
rare.
out. Yeah, I don't understand, but okay, I'm here for it.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we are going to be talking about all things NXT.
NXT, 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 NXT.
NXT.
This-
Last one in.
So for a while, when I was still watching WWE and professional wrestling, which I still do on occasion, I don't do it as much anymore with the amount of COVID issues that basically bombarded everything that they had worked so hard for. NXT was brought to me. I used to watch it way back in the day when it was not the same show that it was. I'm talking relay races with kegs. I'm talking like they had to list like certain, it was almost like a reality dating show, so to speak, of who's going to be the top person.
Ah, the Wade Barrett days of NXT. God, how they were magical.
I've got some bad news.
And full circle, he is now a commentator on NXT, so it weirdly
No.
kind of worked out.
Gotta love it. But yes, the greatest thing that came out of NXT to that point was the Nexus. And man, like, SummerSlam was fantastic. The result was not the result that it should have been, but it happened with John Cena burying the Nexus. So
I actually have a Nexus armband.
He did. I can't confirm, actually. I was very surprised to hear that.
I was trying to find it, but I couldn't find it.
Also, just saying, Daniel Bryan tapped out 3 of them in succession, so we got something from that as well. Just saying.
really. I knew for the fact when they said that Daniel Bryan wasn't coming back because he choked Justin Roberts out with a belt, didn't he? So
Yeah,
they were
no, not a belt with his own tie, which is savage on his part, but still probably not good work environment. Just saying.
So yeah. So when they stated that he wasn't a part of the group anymore, I assumed that he was gonna come back, and man, he is by far the shining star out of that NXT group.
Mhm.
I mean, you got paired with The Miz. You know, I thought it was downhill from him there, but I mean, he was just so great, especially watching in the indie days.
Mhm.
Like, so good.
And and thankfully, because of that, NXT, what we saw originally, has now morphed into something completely different.
Exactly. The NXT that is now Triple H envisioned it with finding young talent and presenting it. Basically, what he did was he took all the rising young stars out of the indies and put it in a WWE setting for essentially the young adults of the group, because this was by far a more, you could almost call it personal, like a more personal level of wrestling than what the WWE has been doing for a while. And people started watching NXT more than WWE, and you could see all the chaos and just brutal creativity that went into everything that was NXT. So much that they went and dominated in Survivor Series.
Yeah.
I loved that pay-per-view where it was Raw versus SmackDown versus NXT. I loved every second.
And Austin, I'll put it into another word for you. It's a more intimate environment.
Oh, for sure.
It's way more. It's
Especially the live shows.
Yeah, the live shows are better. You get it's a little bit of a smaller crowd, but even when they go to the bigger arenas, you get so much more activity from it. I think part of it is also like the atmosphere they keep. There's no bells and whistles. There's no like over the top production environment. You still get some of it, but for the most part, the lights are shown on the action, and that in turn you get so much more crowd reaction from it because people aren't afraid to cheer, boo, whatever they want. You get such a great environment from it. That's part of the reason that I love NXT. And also, you have a lot of guys who were on the indies for so long grinding their way to get here, and they take a lot of pride in what they do in this because it's their introduction to a bigger crowd.
Exactly. And like I said, a smaller crowd, yes, but I believe you get the true wrestling fans out of that smaller crowd, whereas like most of like the WWE like environment is still fans, but a lot of the time it's parents that are bringing their children because they like John Cena's fruity ass great pebble bitch. Like I love it, but like
So aggressive.
that's essentially what it is. Like it is geared more toward a childlike environment, so to speak, whereas like NXT is grinding, hands down, no like barred out violence, and I think for a long time we've been craving that. And if I talk about this anymore, we're going to be here till about 9:30. So Bo, let's hit our first radical ranking. All right, so the first radical ranking, it's crazy enough, Greg.
This is my own shirt, by the way. It's my own stuff.
I do enjoy. I do enjoy. I had a
favorites.
I will say I had an NXT style shirt. I'm not gonna say their names yet, but I had an NXT style shirt that I wanted to wear. Realized it was still in my parents' house, so I wasn't able to wear it.
That's the worst. Yeah.
I do not see. Are you possibly wearing your Johnny Takeover shirt?
Not the Johnny Takeover shirt that I have worn on 2 Beers Deep, which drops every Thursday on Twitch at 7 o'clock, by the way. No. This is the shirt that was produced after he won his first NXT Championship, only NXT Championship, by the way. This is his Johnny Champion shirt with NXT down the side.
That is pretty sweet.
Mhm.
I do like that.
I love this shirt. I love my Johnny Takeover shirt, so obviously I was going to wear it today.
I love it. So tonight, it's funny because the last time that Greg and I saw each other, he's like, "You better not do a top like 5 takeovers." So here it is.
That's what it is, Greg.
Ha! Shit's about to hit the fan right away. So Austin, bring it. Let's go.
All right, the top 5 NXT takeovers. Let's start off with our. Oh, I was gonna say our earliest entry, but it's not. 2016's Takeover Dallas.
Oh, he's laughing. I don't know if you like. Is that
Wow.
Good thing or bad thing?
Too low. Too low, Austin. My God. This takeover had one of probably the best matches WWE has ever had with Sami Zayn and Shinsuke Nakamura. The tag match opener with the Revival and American Alpha was great. Asuka's dominance was started from the get-go. I will give you credit because the main event unfortunately had the issue of being stopped because of blood, which was a bunch of bullshit. I agree. But those 2 matches alone deserve this takeover to be higher than 5.
So I will, because that was, I'm assuming what was going to come out was the 2 matches. I knew the other one was going to come in, but I knew the one reason you were going to hate it was because, and don't take it from consideration that it's so low because of a certain element. I had to put certain elements into perspective. So, yes, the Shinsuke Nakamura Sami Zayn match is by far regarded as, if not the best, one of the best NXT matches that has ever happened in its history.
WWE matches.
Exactly.
Let's not put even NXT on that. WWE.
I'm saying NXT because it's strictly NXT here. I'm just saying.
I
And Asuka's match against Bayley was also good. And like I said, the American Alpha and the Revival, it was really good. The things that really irked me though in this pay-per-view were the fact you had already mentioned one of the blood in order to be stopped because Samoa Joe's, which I will say was awesome though, at the fact that they tried to keep going even at the ref's discretion. Like they were like, no, get back, and they were like, no, like I'm just gonna kick the shit out of you. Like I like that in a retrospective because in my mind you gotta have a little bit of blood in this, gotta have a little bit of gore because that's just what sells. That's what sells.
Yeah, Corbin and Austin Aries was also forgettable too, but I digress on that one.
A main reason though, and it's really sad because one match that I was looking forward to, and it sucked, but the mid card, I believe it was his first debut pay-per-view match in NXT. It didn't last very long. It was Austin Aries versus now King Corbin, then Baron Corbin.
Yep.
I was so excited. Like I said, this is gonna be my match of the night. Was Austin Aries versus Baron Corbin, and wow, man, they just did not like. It's not anybody's fault, but to have Aries in his first match of all things win in a roll-up pin, like it really was just like, okay, they're just not going to take this guy seriously because he was from Impact. But I regarded Austin Aries as being like one of Impact's best wrestlers, and when NXT signed him, I jumped for joy. Like I was like, this is going to be it, and the match just fell so flat. And maybe that's a little bit of bias on my part, but I had to incorporate, as positive as it was, to the negative. And there was, in my retrospective, you could argue that the Nakamura-Zayn match outshined everything.
Yes. Yes. Emphatic yes on that one.
But I can't just go off of a pay-per-view being great just by one match, unfortunately. So it is at 5. I assume there might be some controversy with that, but let's move on to our number 4, which was 2017's TakeOver War Games.
Wrong War Games, but okay. Let me hear this one.
So, I mean, this is correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the first War Games that started everything.
It is the first War Games, but it was also the dumbest concept of doing 3 teams of 3 instead of the traditional 2 teams of 4, which the next one had, which was by far the superior one. But you're talking about events, and I understand one of the reasons you have this on here is probably Aleister Black and Velveteen Dream, so I will not hold that against you.
That was for a while, that was one of my favorite matches in NXT. Mm-hmm. Just the concept of, I mean, even the promo work for it was golden for having a concept of light versus dark. Like, how would that work? And with the over-exhausted amount of machismo, if you will, of Velveteen Dream.
That's one way to say it.
versus the straight, like, faced Aleister Black, and how it works was by far one of the best. It is essentially opposites attract, and that's exactly what happened in this match. It was by far one of my favorite matches ever. And I will say, I get what you're trying to say with the whole 2 teams of 4 with the War Games. However, I thought the concept of having 3 teams so that each individual per team was able to shine worked so well. You had the Undisputed Era, you had Sanity, and you had, correct me if I'm wrong, but the last one was the AP, or I almost said the APA. Wow, can you imagine JBL
and the AOP? Yeah, that'd be funny.
No, the Authors of Pain and Roderick Strong. Like, yeah, I loved having, and correct, there were issues where one of Sanity's members did get hurt so bad that, you know, they basically turned the camera away from him so he can get stitched up.
Alexander Wolf, yeah, I remember. Back of the head, too.
But I thought that the amount of persona that was given in this War Games was great. It basically gave Undisputed Era, like, they were on top a little bit for a while, but they didn't quite reach the status quo yet. Mm-hmm. And this match, going off of, like, facing 2 other teams that were dominating, made Undisputed Era the quote-unquote team to beat in NXT.
So, the reason that I say this one does not hold up as well as the following year's War Games, and I will point this out here, Austin, biggest gripe already, the openers for each one. Cassius Ohno was in both of them. In this one, Lars Sullivan. In the second one, Matt Riddle. Just saying. Also, in 2018, you had Baszler and Kairi Sane in a 2 out of 3 falls match. You had Ciampa and Velveteen Dream for the NXT title, which I thought was a very underrated match. And then overall, the War Games match with Undisputed Era against Ricochet, War Raiders, and Pete Dunne. I mean, come on, man. Come on.
I get it, man. I do understand it, but there's just something about an event that takes place for the first time.
That's fair.
So, like, since WCW, like, I was so excited to see, like, just two steel cages together, and not knowing it for so long, because it's been so long since I watched WCW, for God's sake, that I was like, holy shit, like, now they're putting this with teams that can fly, they can run around, they're strong, like, it incorporates a real adaptation, and I couldn't get enough of it to start. The first one, to me, will always have a place in my heart for that.
All right, I respect that.
That's fair.
Let's head to our number 3. This is our earliest entry. I just wanted to correct that. Number 3 is 2015's TakeOver Brooklyn.
I think this is perfectly placed, Austin.
Crap.
I think it's perfectly placed.
You're gonna like one of these. That's what I'm saying. So.
Yeah. No. This one is perfectly placed. I think that there was so much hype for this one because of the fact that it sold out and no one expected it to. And then if you look at that card entirely, Tyler Breeze and Jushin Thunder Liger was great. Vaudevillains winning the NXT tag titles was cool. A ladder match between Kevin Owens and Finn Balor that no one talks about. And the reason they don't talk about it is because they had to follow possibly the greatest women's match in wrestling ever.
Yeah. That women's match, Bayley and Sasha Banks, holy shit. Like, this, by far, I mean, you had the whole, as soon as it was over, you had the whole 4 horsewomen coming out and each one of them raising their arms. Like, it was a true moment.
Mm-hmm.
I think that a lot of people will remember in time because all of them went on to do amazing things in the WWE despite, its writing difficulties. But saying, you know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about, yeah.
And man, I loved every second of it. Just loved it. You also had you had the tag team match, right? Again, you had American Alpha versus the Revival. Correct me if I'm wrong on that.
Nope. This is there were only 2 takeovers that had that. It was Dallas and then the one after that, which I believe was, I'm trying to remember. I think it was TakeOver The End, which was the steel cage match with Joe and Balor.
Okay. All right. Just wanted to put it out there. I thought that was it, but never mind. But yeah, the Balor versus Owen match again. It's one of the many that they had, but I thought that with the ladder incorporated, it was obviously turned up to like 100. So again, great matches all around, and as we said, possibly the best women's match in NXT.
No, ever.
Okay.
Ever. Come on. That was good. That was good. I can appreciate that.
It was impressive.
I don't have quite the Chris Jericho pipes, but I'm working on it.
Yeah,
so.
Apparently the coffee helps with that, so that's good on your part.
Really, you're really hurting right now whenever I try to get
Yeah, maybe you should be drinking coffee when you do that.
Maybe I shouldn't. Let's move on to our latest entry. 2019's TakeOver New York.
This is my favorite TakeOver ever. I still remember being in Ryan Thompson's living room watching this with Josh Elsas, amongst others, and Kaylee, had this happened. This entire match card was incredible. You had War Raiders versus Ricochet and Aleister Black, which was their send-off from NXT.
Mm-hmm.
You had Riddle versus Velveteen Dream, which, you want to talk charisma, that's like a charisma war right there. You had one of my favorite matches ever, Walter versus Pete Dunne for the UK title, which was excellent. The 4-way women's match was kind of forgettable, but I understand that though. And then, of course, just the love letter to pro wrestling that was Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano in 2 out of 3 falls match. The drama that occurred from that was amazing. Johnny Gargano finally gets his title. I wish he could have done it against Ciampa. Unfortunately, he was injured, but it started probably one of the best rivalries for that year, which was Gargano and Cole. I'm up there with you, bud. This is my favorite takeover. I have a feeling I know what number 1 is now because of that, but this is still a great pick.
It had so many memories, and like I said, I think I've made it vocal with you that I've been a huge fan of Pete Dunne since he arrived. I mean, I watched a little bit of indie tape of him, not incredibly much, but when he arrived in the UK NXT, my God, one of the most arrogant pieces of shit that ever walked the earth, just so great at selling, and the whole finger games that he would always do, he would pull your fingers apart. It's just strict, ruthless British style wrestling. Yeah. And I love every part of it against a guy that a lot of people thought was like the next Gargantuan with Walter.
Yes.
So great.
For people who don't understand, there are literally shirts that are made of Walter chopping people, and you see the imprint of a dude's chest caving in from his chops. So that's why people love his stuff so much. But yeah, Pete Dunne is amazing. His stuff right now is actually very, very good. Just had a match with Kushida that was perfecto. Has a match tonight that I'm excited to watch, but I digress on that.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, this is when Pete Dunne lost his title, when he held it for he held it for 200 some days?
He did. He beat Tyler Bate at the first TakeOver Chicago, which was, I believe, a year or two before. It was the year before, because that's when I believe Ciampa turned on Gargano. So yeah, it had been it was well over a year at that point. So yeah, it was a very historic reign for him.
I mean, Pete Dunne is what it is, man. I love every match that guy's in. It's so great. And then, of
definitely
course,
entertaining to watch.
What was that?
He's entertaining to watch, all his matches.
And then, of course, we had the 2 out of 3 falls, like we said, with Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano. And man, those two they'll rip each other apart. But
oh, for sure.
I will say the top NXT pay-per-view, the one that I still have memories of, that I love to death because of how it was placed, the energy around it, TakeOver New Orleans.
I'm not surprised. This was probably the best main event that I've ever seen from a TakeOver because of how personal it was, because of the fact they went with the decision to do this for the main event. I loved. This was Gargano Ciampa 1. The entire crowd in New Orleans chanting "Fuck you, Ciampa" as he makes his entrance is something I don't recall ever hearing at a WWE show, so it's awesome to hear that. And then the rest of the undercard, by the way, the 6-person ladder match for the North American title was excellent. Roderick Strong turning on Pete Dunne to sign with the Undisputed Era. You had Aleister Black beating Andrade for the NXT Championship, which was awesome. I also believe this was Baszler finally beating Ember Moon for the NXT Women's title as well. So yeah, there's a lot that went on with this, but that main event is probably the best main event that I've ever seen at a TakeOver because of the story that was involved with it.
Well, let's start at the beginning, right? I mean, before the match card, before everything that happens, we find out that Adam Cole has to compete twice in one night because Bobby Fish suffered an injury.
Yep.
Now we realize that after Adam Cole is going to be involved in a brutal 6-man ladder match for the North American Championship, then he has to tag team with
Kyle O'Reilly.
Thank you. Wow, I love that guy too. That's a shame. And face off against Strong and Pete Dunne, and man, I love even the names. Like you had Velveteen Dream, you had Ricochet, EC3.
They dropped the ball on him, but damn, I get it.
Yeah, Derek says Pete Wentz is greater than Pete Dunne. Danny says MTV's Next is greater than NXT.
Wow, that hurts. That hurts my soul. Especially because Next is so just evil when you think about it.
Terrible.
Yeah,
But like you said, also
bad show.
the main event and the stipulation even with it, because let's not like he was gonna be done. Gargano was gonna be done. If he lost to Ciampa, he was gonna be banished from NXT. Like there was a lot riding on this match, and man, it was the most at that point. It was the most personal match I had ever witnessed.
Yep.
And I watched Shawn Michaels and Chris Jericho. Like that was one of the
WrestleMania 19, great match.
God, man, it's so amazing.
Yep. You know what's cool? What's funny about this? I remember when WWE did their list of top matches for the year. This match did not make the list, and there was a big uproar about it online. Yep. And then Ciampa, in total heel mode on Twitter, says it was unsanctioned, it never counted, which is brilliant on his part, by the way, just to really kind of poke the bear on that. So I love that.
I love it, man. But yeah, those are our top 5 NXT takeovers. Let us move to Radical Ranking number 2. We are back, and
wait, Austin, real quick. We have a request in the chat for impressions, and because you are the impression guy, you gotta do Enzo Amore and Big Cass's intro. Do you remember it, my friend? Because I will help you if you need me to.
God, no, I don't. It's been so long.
I will help you. I will help you. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I will repeat the words, and you have to remember them. Okay. My name is Enzo Amore, and I am a certified G and a bona fide stud, and you can't teach that. And this right here, this is Big Cass, and he's 7 foot tall, and you can't teach that. Bada boom, realest guys in the room, how you doing? Can you do it now?
Okay, all right.
All right.
Damn. Getting a little bit of coffee to help me out here.
Oh my god.
it's that
I gotta get Enzo's rasp on that. Like it's a hard one.
That's fair. That's understandable.
My name is Enzo Amore, and I am a certified G and a bona fide stud, and you can't teach that. And this right here, this is Big Cass, and he's 7 foot tall. And you can't teach that. Bada boom! Realest guys in the room. How you doing?
How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? How you doing?
Oh, God.
Woo! Nailed it. You both did.
Woo! I can feel the sweat dripping off my back from that one. I can't imagine how that dude does it in all those fur coats and shit. That's crazy.
He's a different animal, man.
Oh, man. So, I appreciate that, whoever sent that in.
That was Deke, yeah.
That was Deke.
Which, I don't know how the fuck he has internet right now, but I'm so happy he does.
That's all he has right now.
I don't know how.
That's all he has is internet. 400 says he thought Enzo was on the show. So, that's pretty good.
Great impression, bud.
Thanks.
Small says, Jesus Christ, this guy's outfit.
Well, he's a different animal. Let's just leave it at that.
All right.
Deke,
So-
100 bits.
Thank you, kind sir. We appreciate that.
400 says, hi, Deke.
Oh, okay. Let's move on with our top NXT main events.
All right.
Now, as expected, there is probably controversy. These are personal favorites of mine that I thought did really well. So, take as what you will. Number 5, Sasha Banks versus Bayley. Takeover respect.
Not bad, Austin. This doesn't get talked about as much as it should because this was Banks' swan song. But I'm with you. This is underappreciated. I don't know if it's top 5, but it is underappreciated main event.
Like, if you're not going to put it in top 5, it at least has to be in the top 10. Like, this was Banks' swan song. Like, it was just a good match. I mean, these two, that's why we craved it so much. I remember always sitting in a room with all you guys, and we were just like, they need to turn one of them heel.
Right. Also,
So-
shout out to Tip to be Smalls for the 500 bits. Thank you, kind sir.
Thank you, Smalls.
Thank you, kind sir.
Put it towards the monarchy. Love it, Smalls. Appreciate that. But yes, Banks' Swan Song. This match was incredible, to say the least, between
Yes.
these. Like, I know there are probably some others that might be considered here, but this is it for me. Like, I loved the chemistry between these two. I love that Sasha literally went to Bayley's biggest fan and ripped her side in front of her. It tore my heartstrings
Peak
out.
heel. Peak heel.
Loved it. I loved it.
Was this the
Because
first
that's
time they
what
fought
she
against
did.
each other?
No, this was after Bayley beat Banks.
Okay.
So it was kind of like how all that praise was coming from their Brooklyn match. The story was then set up that Banks kept saying that I can beat you, I can beat you. So this was their answer for that. And also, phenomenal callback from that match when Bayley did the reverse Hurricane Rana in Brooklyn. She pulled it again in this match, and Banks just completely no-sold it. Got up, acted like nothing happened, and stared her down. It was beautiful.
We'll move on to our number 4. Johnny Gargano versus Adam Cole, TakeOver New York.
Wow, this is number 4. Holy shit,
Is it
Austin.
higher on your list?
Oh my, I just said that TakeOver New York is my favorite TakeOver, and this match is like a love letter to pro wrestling. So yes, this is higher on my list. First off, Austin, real quick, this entire list is just TakeOver main events, right? This isn't like
Correct.
Okay, so you're not including like anything from TV or anything like that, because there are some that I would put in there, but I understand.
No, most of these are not most of these. All of these are from NXT takeovers.
Okay. I'm just curious because there are some that have been just on TV or have been special events that I would absolutely put in here, but I understand. This one I feel like deserves to be at least 1 or 2, at least, because the drama and story that came from this when you were watching it live got you hooked just immediately from watching it. So I can understand the logic though. So I would love to hear why you have this so low.
Well, it's okay. So let's put it in retrospective of it not being so low. I love this match. It's just that overall the chemistry after is what built to that. For all their like pay-per-views that they had like after, I loved this whole concept because correct me if I'm wrong, but you had the 2 out of 3 falls match that happened here,
Yes.
and then you had the
Normal match, yes.
and then after it was another 2 out of 3 falls, but of the stipulations.
Yeah, so it was basically 3 stages of hell, if you want to
Exactly.
claim it that way, yeah.
And honestly, that one might have crept up here. It honestly might have. But I think this was the powder keg that let loose on all the explosive drama and everything that Gargano and Cole had as a whole with chemistry and everything, with working the crowd. It was a wonder. I do think now, some of these you're going to be like, well, I think one of these you're going to be like, but you have to understand the logic of it. So we'll move on to our number 3, which I know you're going to be like, why the hell is this 3? Gargano versus Ciampa. I know, man. I know.
What the fuck, Austin?
Oh no. I think
Believe
you
me,
lost
I
me.
just talked about it the whole time with you just now. Like, I know that the drama, the brutality, everything was riding on this match. And again, this was sort of the powder keg that lit the fuse of all the great matches that Ciampa and Gargano would have in the future. I love this match, but there was more of a heartstring of triumph rather than a heartstring of productivity, if that makes sense. I don't know if it does, but I'm putting it in here. I thought about this long and hard. I had this one at number 1 for a while, and I switched it.
You moved it down 2 spots.
Jesus Christ. The fact that we had to wait a year for this match. Like, think about that. The moment that Ciampa turned on him was the same night he tore his ACL. So we had to wait a year for this match to even occur. So the fact that we had that long of a build for it to happen, then you just had the massive heat that Tommaso Ciampa had for that match. Like, and I point this out and I bring this up so much, the drama and the storytelling is really what hooks people in pro wrestling. Yes, the athleticism is incredible, the moves are great, but when you have a story that can invest the viewer into it, that's where you get the magic from. And you also bring this up too. You mentioned that the original ones, the first ones, are always the best ones, like you brought up with War Games. These two are the first matches in those rivalries for Johnny Gargano. And I love, by the way, that you have Gargano on these lists because he truly is probably the best NXT superstar ever.
He's the heart and soul of NXT.
Ever. Even now as a heel, he is the best NXT superstar ever.
Yeah. So this next one is going to be the one that you go, why? Number 2, Sami Zayn versus Adrian Neville, TakeOver NXT Revolution.
I understand the reasoning, but I would love to hear why.
I watched so long for Sami Zayn to have success, to finally grasp the brass ring and be able to hold it, knowing that he was the rightful person to wear that title. This match, everything leading up to it, it was literally make or break for this kid. Like, that's what I believed in for this. The triumph of, yes, you can talk about the triumph of Gargano overcoming the emotional turmoil that Ciampa had put him through, but it's the actual premise that everyone was like, Sami Zayn deserves to win that goddamn championship. That's what was put on display against, I will say still, one of the best high-flying individuals I've ever seen. Shout out to Evan Bourne for Derek, you bitch ass. Love him. I was going to come up sooner or later. I just figured I'd throw it out before he had the chance. Adrian Neville, especially as a heel, was one of the best people to watch ever in this setting. And again, both of these guys were clean at the time, so it's interesting to argue for the fact and persona. But correct me if I'm wrong, this also set up the Sami Zayn Kevin Owens feud.
You are correct. This show was the debut of Kevin Owens, and after Sami Zayn won the title and was congratulated by him, Kevin Owens then proceeded to powerbomb him 4 times, including twice on the apron, which led to Kevin Owens just destroying Sami Zayn at the next show to take the title.
Yeah, I feel like Sami gets beat up a lot out there. He puts everything on the line.
You could argue that Johnny Gargano is what Sami Zayn used to be.
I was just going to say that. Yep, Sami Zayn was the Johnny Gargano before Gargano came there. So yeah, I agree with you.
Which is why he didn't hold the title long. Which is why he didn't hold the title on, because it's easier to root for the babyface when they don't. It's easier to root for the babyface when they're going for something. When they have the title, it's like, oh yeah, they're doing great, but there's nothing on the line.
Money's in the chase, buddy. I get it.
It's like you with the crown. Like if someone was to take the crown.
This is always. It's not leaving me. It's always here.
If someone's trying to take the crown, people would root for them. I think.
That's true. Everyone always loves a good underdog story.
Yeah, like when Denny was here last week, I think people wanted him to take the crown off.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't show it, but anyway.
Ooh.
Ooh. And then let's hit. I know, Greg. This is regarded as. No, you say Sami Zayn and Nakamura. We say Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano. Number 1, Johnny Gargano versus Andrade. Take over Philadelphia.
You're not wrong, Austin. This was an amazing match. I remember watching this. I was at Elsas's because I remember Adam Cole and Aleister Black in a hardcore match before this one too, and that was excellent. And this match does have its place. This is the match actually that leads to TakeOver New Orleans with Gargano fighting for his job, because after this match, Gargano loses, Ciampa makes his return and attacks him with a crutch, which led to a whole series of stuff.
Do you see why I had to put? Now you could argue maybe Ciampa and Gargano at 2 instead of Sami Zayn and Adrian Neville, but we talk about Origins. The match itself was beautifully done, so much that it got a 5-star rating.
Shout out Dave Meltzer. Gotta love it.
And it was, correct me if I'm wrong, the first 5-star rating an NXT match had ever gotten.
I'm not an Observer subscriber, so I don't know the history of that, but I wouldn't hold it against you because I am aware that this got a 5-star from Meltzer. I've heard that before. I don't know if it was the first, but I do know it did.
I think it was the first. And like I said, we talk about Origins. You wouldn't have TakeOver New Orleans if you didn't have what happened after this match. You had Ciampa coming out. I mean, it was just so beautifully done. That's all I can say.
Forger doesn't agree with me.
Yeah, my problem with this match, and listen, I get it. This is a phenomenal match. Everything about it is great. I even loved Andrade's entrance where he brought the La Sombra mask out, which was something I never thought I'd see him wear in NXT. So that was cool. I thought the interaction with Zelina Vega and Candice LeRae was great. I get it. But Andrade was so underwhelming as NXT champion in like every way possible. He had the charisma, he had all that, but like his run just did not wow me. And I remember the highlight for Andrade in all seriousness was he had 4 matches with Johnny Gargano for the title. Yeah. He had 4. So there's only so much that you can do from that, and this one match was excellent, but there wasn't really a strong story behind it for me, you know? I feel like the reason for that is because everyone was waiting for that Ciampa return. Everybody was waiting for that match to finally happen. That Gargano was just kind of, I don't know, he was kind of like waiting in the wings until this eventually like got through or anything like that.
I get it. I mean, you could argue maybe that Andrade was a poor man's Alberto Del Rio at the point of time for this, but I mean, this, like, it was still a fantastic. I literally gasped at almost everything that went on during this match, because at that point it was Andrade not only proving himself worthy of holding that belt to go up against one of NXT's greatest in Johnny Gargano. And the storyline, you could argue, was a little watery, but a lot of the concept around it was beautifully done. Mm-hmm. That's the reason for me why it's number 1.
Any honorable mentions you throw in here?
Oh, shit.
There's a lot.
Just because of how great, I mean, I was just going to list the match. I didn't. I would probably throw that 2 out of 3 falls with Gargano and Adam Cole part 2.
Okay.
Because of how nuts it was. I remember watching like the cage drop down, and I said, "Oh shit, this is gonna be amazing." Maybe Tommaso Ciampa, Velveteen Dream.
Mm-hmm.
Is another one. What about you? Any ones that stick out to you?
I mean, first off, Foreigner is absolutely correct in the chat. Finn Balor and Kyle O'Reilly, where Finn Balor broke his jaw and Kyle O'Reilly had a kidney shot on him, which was one of the most brutal matches I've ever seen. So, Foreigner, thank you for that. I would throw I would throw 2 of the War Game matches, the one I mentioned earlier with Ricochet, War Raiders, and Dunn against Undisputed Era. I would also throw in Yui against Ciampa, Dijakovic, Lee, and Kevin Owens, which was a really amazing pop that I heard from the crowd on that one. And also the second match with Gargano and Ciampa, the one where Ciampa DDT'd him on the exposed board while handcuffed, which was great storytelling. So Deke bring this up in the chat. That wasn't a main event. That was technically a middle of the card match. That's why it's not considered a main event match.
He also writes in, Greg, what was the Nakamura one I love?
I mean, that's the best way to say Nakamura. Just throwing it out there. But it wasn't a main event match. That's why it's not on the list.
You can't forget Pat McAfee versus Adam Cole.
That was not a main event, but I understand.
It's entertaining though.
But he did well. He did really well.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. It wasn't a main event.
Let's get into what I believe will be an awesome, great debate, boys. Oh. And we're back. The great debate for tonight is another draft concept, but we are going to be drafting our NXT faction. So we will have one main eventer, one mid card, one tag team, so the 2 people will count for 2 separate things, and 1 woman. So this is going to be quite interesting. So I will let the people decide, monarchy aside, to decide the draft. So one of you, which will probably be Foreigner, because Foreigner always decides the draft order.
Deke is watching.
So decide this draft order for us guys. Because this.
All right, thank you. Thank you, kind sir.
So Greg will have the first overall pick. We'll go to vote, and I will be on for the roundabout. Snake style. Let's get into it. Greg, where are you going?
I'm going to start off with the greatest NXT champion of all time. Give me Finn Balor.
I knew that was coming.
Mm-hmm. The NXT absolutely exploded into pop culture when Finn Balor got there. The Demon became one of the coolest things that you could ever see on TV. It was unique. It was for him. He held it for special occasions. And then his second run is just as good, too. He came back, didn't even have the Demon gimmick, and went on an absolute roll to be able to be redefining his style with regards to being a champion. So, Finn Balor.
All right. Bo, you are up, sir. Who are you taking?
I'm going to go, for my main eventer, I'm going to go Johnny Gargano.
Love it.
All his matches are entertaining. I mean, your top matches right there, he was in 3 out of 5. So,
could be in more when you think about it, but yeah, we understand on that one.
So I feel like that's a solid main eventer right there.
This is where I wished I was at 2, because I would have just had you guys so hard, but Vo had to steal it. So I will stray away from what I originally had planned, and I will pick my main eventer to start, and I will pick Adam Cole.
Baby!
Hey.
Bravo, bud. Longest reigning NXT champion ever. I don't think he'll ever get the credit that he deserves, potentially, but it's there.
Okay. Derek says, Bo still sounds like his mic isn't on.
It's on.
Yeah. Audio's working, so I don't know what he's talking about,
I'm
but
just a quiet
Might
person.
just be saying it's soft. That he's soft.
Just a quiet person.
SAWFT.
so
Soft. God, I should just go as Enzo for Halloween. Honestly.
oh my God, please do.
That'd be amazing.
Do you know anyone who's 7 foot tall?
I was gonna say someone needs to be 7 foot tall to be big cast for me.
Big Dave.
I mean, to be fair to me, everyone
That'd be
looks 7 foot tall. So
That's true. Anyone could be 7 foot tall when you think about it with you.
So I will go now with my mid card, and I understand all the controversy and everything that surrounds him, but he was by far my favorite person to watch on the screen in NXT. Give me the Velveteen Dream.
That was gonna be my pick.
Man, god damn it! If he just stayed out of his own way, he would have been a fucking star. And it's so sad. It's so sad.
He was supposed to be the next big thing. Like, he was supposed to be a main eventer, like a true main eventer. But for most of what I remember, he was a mid card for me.
He was.
Well, I will stick to that realm.
Oh man, what could have been? Bo, you're up, bud.
So with my mid card pick, I'm gonna go with Seth Rollins.
Ah, I hate you. People forget that he was the first NXT champion. Yeah, that was good. That was good.
But curb stomps everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Got the shirt. He's on my team now, so.
I was gonna say, I mean, you'd be doing an injustice if you didn't have, quote unquote, when he was doing his thing, the Messiah, the Monday Night Messiah. So, all right, Greg, you are up for 2. Where are we going?
First off, I'm going to pick my women wrestler. Give me probably, in my opinion, the most dominant women's champion ever in NXT. Give me Asuka.
It's a good one.
Yep. Asuka was incredible. Asuka is the only woman that had to retire. The only woman that had to retire the NXT Women's Championship in order to move up. So she absolutely... A-S-U-K-A. There you go, bud. And my third one, I am going to go with the greatest North American champion ever, who also had to retire his title because he was a double champ. Give me Keith Lee.
Good pick.
I love Keith Lee so much.
He's a good one, man. I hate that they ruined his theme song. I hate it.
Yeah.
I miss the bask in his glory. Like, I miss it so much.
When he made his debut on Raw, and then all of a sudden it was different music, the internet exploded, and it was so fun to watch.
Oh hell! Well, I mean, I remember even going way back to when we went to the live show and he came out. I was like, we were jumping up and down.
Oh, we were going crazy. I was so happy to hear that thing live.
All right, Bo, you have a woman wrestler and you have a tag team. Where we go?
We will go with the tag team first. We're going to go with the War Raiders.
Bravo.
Is it the War Raiders or the Viking Raiders or the Viking experience?
Let's.
War Raiders was when they were amazing.
Yeah, that was they were Hanson and Rowe is what they were.
I'm just playing. I know. Believe me, it was a doozy to have their name.
Boy, that was fun too.
All the crowd going war.
Takes you back to Viking metal days, man. Like
it really does.
Wow, I can't believe she slid down this far. Give me the most dominant woman I know aside from Asuka to ever grace NXT. Give me the chokehold, the ace of spades. Give me Shayna Baszler.
The submission magician. I love it. I will also say this too. She is the reason this women's division is so great.
Exactly.
Because she built up so many of those women that are currently on NXT right now. So, I
had to stray away from my pick. I was originally going to pick someone else. I had to stray away from it. So.
I seriously considered Io Shirai because I love Io Shirai, but I couldn't pass up Asuka.
Yeah. And wow, my tag team. So this is where I was going to say if I had the second pick, I was going to pick DIY and would have stolen both Ciampa and Gargano from both of you.
Which would have been fun. I would have given you that.
Would have been. Goddamn Forager always putting me at last place. Shit.
That's because you're the king.
I'm just saying.
He wants to challenge you.
Forager, I'll donate bits to the own show to have a better rank.
Wow.
That means
Just saying,
he's admitting
Kings got to
he's
sway their
losing.
own ways sometimes. Got to throw some money under the table.
Seriously, apparently.
Oh man. So, tag team. I'm gonna say because they were a tag team for a little bit. I know, and they might not have as great of a chemistry as everyone else. Give me Ricochet.
Damn it! Damn it! Damn it! I was gonna steal that. Damn it!
No, believe me, man. I went to like all. I'm not gonna list them because I know once we list them, we can't say them. So, but I had like 3 or 4 in my head, and I was like, damn. Like, I bet you I steal this from Greg. That's exactly what.
Fucking asshole.
That's a good pick.
Oh my god, I was so mad. I was teeing that up, and I was like, damn it.
And correct me if I'm wrong, the only NXT tag team to happen at WrestleMania. I would say so.
Yeah, because they wrestled at New York and then wrestled the next night at Mania. So yeah, you're right.
That felt so good to get off my chest now that I'm done. All right, Vo, you're a women's wrestler.
We're gonna go with the one, the only, Peyton Royce.
What? Where?
It's his crush, man. Let him have it.
Yeah.
Let him have it.
Just let me have it.
Well, we know what place Vo ended up on this list.
He's got good workers though.
Right? Or was that in Raw?
He's got good workers. Peyton Royce was never a champ, no.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Well, that might be a bad pick, but it's
She makes up for it in other ways. Don't worry.
She has an
I love the pick, Vo. There were maybe some other names, but I know that Peyton Royce is a character. I love her. Like, she's just great. And finally, we have Greg.
Top guys, baby. Top guys. Give me the Revival.
Man, they were just so bad reviews when they went to the WWE.
Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder, baby. They were animals.
They debuted, and I said, holy shit, the Revival's on Raw.
Oh, yeah, that pop was epic. And that was against the New Day, too, which is very hard to do.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's obviously a lot of people left off this list. One being Tommaso Ciampa.
Right.
Was one, but again, with only picking 3 main eventers, like so I think the ones that we chose were the top 3. You could argue Ciampa being 4,
mm-hmm.
you will. So I think we did right by that.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, Deke's even bringing it up in the chat. Bailey, Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks.
I totally forgot about Becky Lynch.
I know. So
Becky never won the title. That's why.
Yeah, so I think Derek's looking at a perspective where how popular they went into the WWE after NXT, whereas I stuck to strictly NXT realm for how they did. And you could argue, well, Aleister Black and Ricochet didn't really come out until like they started moving into the WWE, but
I mean, they won the Dusty Classic, so it counts.
They did, and that was just a personal sting to Greg.
Yeah.
So
Deke wants to know where Enzo is. He said this is a joke. I honestly thought one of you were going to take the tag team.
Nah, I thought about it, but then I was like, I can't do it. I just couldn't.
Oh man. But yeah, tag teams alone, Sanity, American Alpha, like
Hell,
there's.
You could have put Undisputed Era in here if you wanted to.
I know. I tried to stick because I didn't want to have like a fully, like that'd be like too predictable, honestly. And I thought the chemistry of having like a high flying, crazy boy like Ricochet and
he said Rick O'Shea is lame.
I mean, in terms of main eventers too, I mean, like we could have done Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, Samoa Joe, Nakamura, choices. Bobby Roode, Drew McIntyre, Andrade if we wanted to, yeah.
Which is why we leave it up to the people now. If you think one of yours can top one of ours, send it through, because we will gladly view. We will not agree, but we will gladly view. Right now, thank you for that, boys. That was I think that was one of our better great debates that we actually knew most about. I think
Because we were well educated, that's why.
That's very true. So let's take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back with the final ranking, baby.
Hi, I'm Josh. I like pizza. Do you like pizza?
When the moon hits your eyes like a big pizza pie.
We've let it coagulate. Show Greg, king of coagulation there.
Coagulation is key.
Ooh. Homemade Greek ranch.
Do you like watching people eat pizza? Help me, because I'm on the quest to find the best pizza in Pittsburgh.
Hand-forged pizza. Bit of Vici. That's amore.
Make sure you're sending in your recommendations for the best pizza in Pittsburgh, because I'm gonna go, I'm gonna try it, I'm gonna hold it to my standards.
It's the aftertaste is the barf. It's where the barf comes in.
I agree. It's Bob Pizza.
Can your favorite pizza place pass the test? Find out.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is finally time to end our NXT show by taking it over from the beginning. We hit the top 10 NXT champions.
This is gonna be fun.
This is gonna be fun. There's a lot of reasoning where I have certain individuals. Just bear with me. I know what the hell I'm talking about. All right. So.
Wow. Okay.
We'll see. We'll see if you know.
That's it. Let's bring up to number 10 the first ever NXT champion, Seth Rollins.
Totally cool with this, bud. Totally cool. He deserves to be on the list because of the fact that he's the first, but he does not belong anywhere near the top. So this is perfectly placed.
It was a hard choice because I know Seth Rollins, for what he is in the WWE, he's a great talker. He knows how to work the crowd, and his in-ring ability, you could call him essentially the Monday Night Iron Man. That's essentially what he is. But for strictly NXT purposes, he has to come in last here for number 10. He ended up beating Big E Langston for the belt.
No. So Big E actually beat him for the title. The guy that he beat was Jinder Mahal in the tournament finals.
That's right. Wow. Jinder Mahal back in NXT. Can you believe that shit?
Yep. What a time to be alive.
Monday Maharaja. Man. We move to number 9. I know people are gonna freak. Johnny Gargano.
Austin, this is actually perfectly placed.
You think so?
Yes.
See, I thought it would have been a little higher.
No, because here's the problem. Johnny was way better in the chase, and also because Johnny only held the belt for 2 months, even. He won it at New York, and then he lost it at the next TakeOver. So, honestly, this is perfectly placed. So, he's much better known as the North American champion because that was his bread and butter. It's the workhorse belt. So, this is totally cool.
It's exactly the reasoning that I put, Greg, is because people love to see baby faces when they go and chase the dream. They don't want to see them achieving the dream because then what is there to cheer for? So the fact that they had Gargano win and then lose at the next NXT TakeOver pay-per-view was spot on booking, because then you got one of the most brutal matches that I've seen between him and Adam Cole. Number 8, the man that is essentially Glorious. Bobby Roode.
You like this one?
I do.
He had a great entrance song.
His entrance got him over so good.
Yeah, for sure.
He did not hold the title long either. He
held it for like, didn't he hold it for like about 100, 200 days, I thought?
He beat Knock for it and then lost it to McIntyre. So he had it for 6-7 months, something like that. Okay, so that's reasonable. Yeah. All right.
And again, for the fact, every time this dude made a splash, any entrance that he had was, you know, I hate to use the word glorious, but that's literally what it was. The moment that I remember so often is when he had the, I'm not sure what choir it was, but they opened him up in like an a cappella. And man, it was so cool. Just see him coming. I mean, he was the modern cut. You would argue with the robe and everything. He's nowhere level on the persona that Ric Flair was, but he was essentially the man.
Oh, he was inspired by it. That's true. I mean, the match that he beat Nakamura for it, he literally walked to the ring with 8 valets. That's something Ric Flair did.
Yep.
That is exactly cut and paste something Ric Flair did. So, no, his entire gimmick was very much Ric Flair persona based.
Yeah. So, copy paste Ric Flair at number 8. We have number 7. And Greg, all you have to do is believe.
It's actually Voleave.
It is Voleave. Oh God.
Dallas at 7.
Wow.
I think people forget that Bo Dallas held the title for a very long time.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so Seth Rollins was the first champ. Big E beat Seth Rollins. Bo beat Big E for it. So
Interesting.
He started off as like a decent face, like an underdog story that people were like, okay, this guy, he's brother of Bray Wyatt. He's doing great. But man, as soon as he went heel, it was the best thing ever.
Because people got annoyed with him. It was very well done. I will give you that. It was very well done, his character.
And the ladder match that he had with Neville, oh my God, so good.
NXT Arrival, very first live event on the network, actually.
Number 6, we have Shinsuke Nakamura!
The night he won the title, TakeOver Brooklyn 2. His entrance still gives me goosebumps because he had a violin player play him out to the ring. That was incredible. I hated the idea of him losing to Joe in Toronto just for him to win it back in his home country. I thought that was kind of lame. But Knock was still a really cool champion. I will give him that. So he deserves to be on this list.
One of the first 2-time NXT champions, correct?
Yes, Joe was the first 2-time champion and then Knock. Because Joe held it, lost it to Knock, Joe beat him again, and then Knock took it back.
And you could argue that a lot of times when they do a person holding the title versus someone of their home area, it is mostly a face. You know, you could argue Natalya in SummerSlam when she faced off against Charlotte Flair, or any of the other ones that came before. I think the reason that they did in the hometown for then was because of essentially a heel nature. And you saw that, again, going back, let's put it forward to WWE when you had John Cena versus CM Punk.
In Chicago,
yes,
yeah.
Praised in his hometown, but he was most definitely a heel.
Mm-hmm.
And loved every second of that. That's for another show. That's for another time. Let's move on to number 5.
Yeah, Austin Deke says Wade Barrett better be number 1.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Wade Barrett never won the NXT championship.
No, he just won the season. Doesn't count.
I just want to make myself...
Know your wrestling, Deke.
So, number 5. I love playing having the guitar. Da-na-na-na, da-na-na-na. Da-na-na-na, da-na-na-na. Kevin Owens.
So, What I love about Kevin Owens is that he brought the title to the main show when he got bumped up, held it, made it like prominent and stuff. So that made it feel bigger than it actually was at the time. So I can appreciate that with Owens. The way he won it by dominating Sami Zayn and just leaving him laying. Sami Zayn got no offense in during that match, which is scary to think about.
It was very much a slaughter fest.
Yes.
Greg, again, we share the same wrestling brain. I understand that you understood. The main reason he's at 5 was because of the legitimacy that he brought NXT to the roster.
Mm-hmm.
He went into Raw and went to apparently challenge John Cena for the United States Championship. And he straight up said, your United States Championship isn't shit to my NXT Championship.
He's right. He was 100% right.
And the two proceeded to have some of the most well-worked matches that I mean, Owens was able to experiment so much with John Cena being such a veteran that some of the moves that he did way back in the day when he faced Cena, he does not do now because he is strictly not allowed to do those moves.
Mm-hmm. There was a lot more freeing. There was a point in the match where I thought he was going to do the cradle pile driver, and they teased it perfectly.
Yep. One of my favorite ones, exactly. You had the sideways superplex. I love so much every time I see it. It's just such a wonderful move. And, I mean, even John Cena. With John Cena being the U.S. champion at the time, he had every tool in his arsenal to exploit. He did moves that we've never seen before to people like Kevin Owens. Springboard stunners being one of them. I literally watched John Cena do that. I said, is this the same guy? Does he still weigh like 270, 260 some pounds and he's able to do this shit? It's just more or less Owens had the persona to be such a piece of shit heel.
Oh yeah.
It was so great to watch.
Mm-hmm. This was very much his Ring of Honor persona, which I loved.
Yep. Number 4, based on his tenacity, it's time for Goldie. Tommaso Ciampa at 4.
4?
At 4.
Wow. That's absurd.
There's going to be one we didn't agree with. This was most likely the one.
At 4. God. Okay, I understand 2 of them being higher than Ciampa, but I can't wait to see who you have ahead, because Tommaso Ciampa as NXT champion was great. He was a great NXT champion. The fact that he even coined the phrase Goldie is all we need for that one right there.
It was fun to see him almost give a personality to the belt, which I don't think I've ever seen before, aside from Bray Wyatt having his belt changed to his Fiend persona. I mean, it was like the best thing in a championship to say John Cena changing the belt to the spinner belt, Edge to the Rated R spinner belt. This was a persona most likely for the ages of quote-unquote Goldie.
This was also around the time that he got yoked as well, so he fit the actual physical description of a champion as well, which made it work so much better.
But did he ever win NXT? That's a question from Deke.
They're different NXTs, man. They're different NXTs.
Shut up, Derek.
Deke said it's like saying you won American Idol, but he's not an American Idol champion.
I mean, who calls them American Idol champions? I don't call Kelly Clarkson a champion.
That's true. Greg, this is going to be the one we probably this is probably going to be the one that you're going, why is he ahead of Tommaso Ciampa? Strictly athletic ability, what he brought to the table, something that we had not seen in NXT for a long time. Number 3, Adrian Neville.
I will give him credit because he is the first superstar to actually bring the NXT title on a Raw, because he did a preview match before his Fatal 4-Way with Zayn, Tyson Kidd, and Tyler Breeze. I'll give him credit. I'll give him credit because he is an amazing high flyer, but goddamn, there have been so many better champions since him. There really have been.
In my honest opinion, persona-wise, maybe. Athletic ability, that's a whole nother thing. This guy was able to do moves that I never seen even imagined in the ring. I mean, I watched his, and again, not taking this moment into consideration for that, but his Monday Night Raw debut blew me away.
I would argue his Cruiserweight title run was better than this.
Okay, so I get Cruiserweight because we appreciate the heel Neville a lot more than what he was maybe in NXT. But I saw Neville having the championship, not only one, incorporating a Cruiserweight style to be at the top of the brand, which we have not seen since Rey Mysterio.
That's right.
Two, the amount of just unathletic ability that this man does. I keep preaching it, but God, man, some of the moves I thought would obviously land someone in a hospital.
Is he better than Evan Bourne?
I would love to see Neville and Evan Bourne face off. I would argue the Red Arrow is better than the Shooting Star Press.
I'm pretty sure Matt Sydal and Pac have had a match in AEW by now. I don't know, but they had to have.
Yeah. And lastly, this is not saying that Seth Rollins' title run didn't mean anything, that Bo Dallas's or Big E's, but Neville's title run made it feel like this is something to watch. Like, this is something to believe in.
Are you putting it out there because of the fact that when NXT got really big on the network, Neville was the front and center, like, poster boy for it?
Yes.
All right.
Number 2. Adam Cole, baby!
This is exactly what I was expecting. Longest reigning NXT champion in history. Deserves to be top 2. He will never be number 1 for obvious reasons, but he absolutely is top 2 nonetheless. He looks great in that belt, just saying. But that's me.
There was a point in time where when every single member of the Undisputed Era had a championship.
Yes! The War Games match that I told you about with Lee, Ciampa, Dijakovic, and Kevin Owens. That's the match.
I'm just saying.
Just saying.
This felt like a more young, advanced, high-flying sort of evolution. Like, this was the next big thing. And Adam Cole at the center of it, you never figure a guy looking like Adam Cole would ever hold something as prestigious as the NXT Championship. But he proves it time and time again. He knows how to work the crowd. He knows in between and outside of the ropes, and he knows his opponent. I love Adam fucking Cole.
Baby. And yes, you're accurate because he can work with anyone as well.
Yeah.
I've had.
You ever watch any of NXT's episodes, man? It's amazing. And I mean, this is the clear one.
It's Wade Barrett. It's gotta be.
What?
It's gotta be Wade Barrett.
Well, it's a quote unquote. I love that I've got some bad news for ya. Number 1 is Finn Balor.
Absolutely the correct call, because Finn Balor, when he was champion originally, NXT exploded, and then he redefined his title run as originally a heel and then became kind of a tweener, and he had some wars with Kyle O'Reilly, had some great matches with Karrion Kross too, so absolutely perfect number 1.
the fact of the matter that he went from being known as the Demon to defining his own image was, I think, one of the coolest things I'd ever seen. And not only with the multitude of matches that he had with individuals that weren't for a title, when he faced off against Matt Riddle, like, that was amazing.
His takeover match with Johnny Gargano. I mean, that's all I need right there.
Yep. That felt good. That felt good.
I'm glad that felt good for you, bud.
Let's go through, and I'm going to recast. 10, Seth Rollins. 9, Johnny Gargano. 8, Bobby Roode. 7, Bo Dallas. 6, Shinsuke Nakamura. 5, Kevin Owens. 4, Tommaso Ciampa. 3, Adrian Neville. 2, Adam Cole. 1, Finn Balor. If you think my ranking is shit, then you can make your own and see if it compares against mine. It won't. You're more than welcome to try. And I will promo us out to the end, boys. The spectacle that is the RankKing's Court is on Tuesday. Every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday.
Tuesday at 6:30. You see me, you see Greg, you see Bo. You don't see anything but
RankKing's.
And also, don't forget, 8 o'clock, USA Network, you can watch NXT tonight.
There you go.
Perfect timing.
Until then, this has been another episode of the RankKing's Court. Tune in next week. We're going to have Josh Elsas on as a guest. That show is going to be explosive. I can't wait. Until then, Court is adjourned.
Court is adjourned.